Governor and the First Lady.
Thank you very much, Madeline. I appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is Governor Steve Sisolak. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone for joining today's virtual roundtable and taking the time out of your day to allow for these important conversations to take place. These are trying times for our country and for our state right now. And since the start of the pandemic, we have undoubtedly seen a rise in violence and hate crimes targeted against our AAPI community. Let me be clear. These attacks and any form of violence, racism, or aggression against Asian Americans are not acceptable in any means. Nevada has always been and will always be a safe and welcoming place for folks from all walks of life. Diversity is our strength in this state. First Lady Kathy Sisolak and I stand in solidarity with the AAPI community, and we believe these issues must be addressed head on. That is why we invited you all to this virtual roundtable here today. As elected officials, law enforcement representatives, and community leaders, we want to hear from you on ways we can best provide support to Nevada's AAPI communities. I won't take up any more of your time in order to allow for this important discussion to take place. But I first want to turn it over to a member of Nevada's AAPI community. The First Lady of Nevada, my wife, Kathy Sisolak. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. It is our honor to host today's virtual roundtable, and I want to thank each and every one of you for being here today. You are here today because you care, and together we can help one another find solutions and better address these challenges that our society faces. This issue is close and dear to my heart, and I am sure it is yours as well. As many of you know, I am the daughter of immigrants, and my father was the first Chinese dealer on Fremont Street. My heritage and my culture are an important part of my identity, and I firmly stand upon the belief that no one should ever be targeted or persecuted for their race, ethnicity, or the color of their skin. I would like to open up today's discussion by pointing to some research and figures that could help guide us navigate the current state that we are still finding ourselves in. Attacks on the AAPI community have undoubtedly increased as research released by reporting forum Stop AAPI 8 revealed nearly 3,800 incidents were reported over the course of roughly a year during the pandemic. Out of those 3,800 incidents, women make up far higher share of the reports at 68% compared to men who made up 29% of the respondents. That being said, many experts believe this is just a fraction of the true total. Verbal harassment and shunning were the most common types of discrimination. We don't have to look any further to see the reality of what is taking place in our country than with the tragic occurrence that happened just last week. Asian American hate crimes erupted on a national scale when Robert Aaron Long was charged with fatally shooting 8 people, including 6 women of Asian descent, at spas in the greater Atlanta area. Now, as we ask ourselves, what can we do, Nevadans, in order to help address this issue in our state, there are a few suggestions that have come to my attention that I would like to share. First, support the immediate needs of the AAPI groups on the ground. We can show our support as a society by donating money, and if we are capable, translation services and supporting legal assistance. Secondly, I encourage everyone to speak out if you witness a hate crime or incidents. Keep in mind the techniques and guidelines to de-escalate the situation. Third, report the hate crime or incidents. If it's a violent situation or safety is in danger, call 911 immediately. Hate crimes are underreported. Numerous Asian American community leaders have reminded us that reporting an incident you experienced or witnessed can help bring greater awareness and strengthen the chance a perpetrator will be prosecuted. Lastly, never stop raising your voices and encourage fellow community members to do the same. Ask leaders to center the needs of affected communities, tackle systematic racism, and help address the needs of survivors. At the end of the day, we need to ensure each of us does our part and actively contribute to help address this issue.
At this time, I think some of the others on the call, including my friend and advocate, Congresswoman Titus, may want to speak briefly, but I know we all want to hear from the community members on the call. So we'll begin with Congresswoman Titus.
Well, thank you very much to you, Governor Steve, and to our wonderful First Lady for hosting this important conversation. It's something that's difficult to talk about, and I look forward to hearing your stories, but it's something that we have to work on together. One law is not going to change it. It will take a sustained effort. I also want to just say briefly how much I miss Emily Higby, who would be with us today if she hadn't just passed away. She was a great activist and representative of the Asian Pacific Island community. You know, I represent the most ethnically diverse district in the state, and you've often heard me talk about Chinatown, Koreatown, the hundreds of markets and festivals and stores and restaurants that are owned by people from all over Asia and the Pacific Islands. And it's an honor to protect and represent that community. We've got to be very proactive, and I have certainly appreciated what the First Lady was saying, that things we could do. But we've also got to be willing to call out prejudice and discrimination where we see it. I didn't hesitate to do that with the last president we had, Donald Trump, who used language that divided us instead of bringing us together. And now we have a president who has committed to working to just get rid of all discrimination and to address that kind of violence or hateful action and language. Just briefly, during the last Congress, I co-sponsored a bill that condemned language like this and actions that are anti-Asian as a result of COVID. And I'm working this Congress with Grace Ming, who many of you know, who has been to visit us here in Nevada, on a bill that's called the COVID-19 Hate Crimes Act. It's been endorsed by President Biden, and it will require the Justice Department to quickly and comprehensively conduct reviews of COVID-19 hate crimes that have been reported, and then to issue some guidance for state and local law enforcement agencies to go after those crimes. So there's still a lot of work to do. You can always count on my support. I look forward to working with you on this issue so it does not become a more extended problem here in Nevada. I thank the governor and the First Lady for their leadership, and I look forward to hearing all of your stories.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can we have a moment of silence for the lives lost in Atlanta, as well as for Emily? Thank you.